As Ethan said, I am Doug Purdy. I work on the engineering team. I have been up for 48 hours straight, so I apologize for whatever experience you're about to have for the next couple of minutes. We just recently finished up a hackathon. You're about to hear from Warren, who helps us run product, who ran the hackathon for us. He's got some good updates that we'll have in a few minutes. But in the meantime, what we want to do is actually show a demo. And one of the things we did last night was we brought a Zen monk in, and when we started the hackathon, we actually offered meditation. And when we offered meditation, what we did is we gave people a set of sensors that they could use in order to actually measure how their meditative state was evolving during that meditation. And as they were experiencing that with that sensor, they had an opportunity to draw things up on the screen that would actually show the beauty of their heart. Let's see if the network actually works. This is where it's supposed to help me, but it hasn't yet. Let's see. I'll come back to that in a second. So what it will do in just a few moments, if it starts to work, is you'll start to see my name pop up here, and you'll begin to see a flower draw itself on the screen, and it's actually driven from the watch that I'm wearing, this Apple Watch. And so we had a group of people. We ran about 5 or 6 of those sessions, and it was a cool experience. We'd been working on that app for some time. But what we actually decided to do was actually add meditation as a way to create donations. So for every minute that you meditated, a donation would go out in the form of XRP to a charity, to a cause, to some kind of beneficiary that's not yourself. So when you were somebody's clapping in the back, that's kind of cool. Yeah, thank you. So it's pretty cool. So actually what's going on right now is you can see and hear my heart. That's it right there. And every single minute that I meditate, XRP is being streamed to a donation or to a cause. The cool thing about this is we could do this with 8 people. So all 8 people were actually drawing and experiencing their heart on the screen together. So it's really cool. But what was really cool about it, because I'm a developer, is that there was some awesome code behind that. So let's take a look at that code. Oh, I seem to be excited. So these are 3 different variants of the code that actually does that donation. And as Ethan said, one of the core things that we've been working on is to make it much easier for a developer to build applications like this. And so if you look up here at line 174, that was the first line of code that I wrote that actually did this donation. And we've got pretty good libraries. Turns out they only work in JavaScript right now for the most part. And so that, oh, there's another series of claps. Another series of claps. And you can actually see that that's about 100 lines of code. Now, this is code that any developer normally would need to write, but it's also code that gets called so much, so if any bug actually happens inside of that code, it's almost catastrophic to the system. And in fact, we've seen systems where a tiny change to a little property in one thing can result in enormous fluctuations in the downstream system. And so what we wanted to do was make a much simpler system, and you can actually see that here, where what we did is we took all the components of XRP, that programming model, and we applied it and did a REST API that allowed any developer that knows how to talk HTTP to also be able to talk to the ledger. And so as you can see, that actually reduced my code by 60%, which makes me exceptionally happy, because I always tell everyone that works on any team with me, the best code ever written is none, because it has no bugs. Just bear that in mind. So the fewer number of lines of code you have, typically the more robust your system is by definition. Now, this next thing that we actually built, and I'm actually going to show you how simple this system is we managed over the last quarter to spend a lot of time saying, hey, we think this web API is great, the REST API is great, but what we want to do is we want to get to a place where this isn't written in JavaScript, but rather it's written in Swift. It's written in a language that I can run on my phone, it's written on a language I can run on my watch, and if I'm a Rust programmer, maybe I want to use that. No matter what language I want to use, how can I interact with the system? And so what we did was we created a thing that we called the Xpring SDK. And you can see this is where I'm trying to get around some network issues here. But it's a very, very straightforward kind of system. You have atomics like wallets in the system. You have atomics in the system like amounts. You have atomics in the systems like address. And so you can go from something that's basically 100 lines of code down to something that is effectively, let's see, I think I did the count. The count is 21 lines of code. And it utilizes things that are just very, very simple for a regular developer to get their head around. Because our goal with the Xpring SDK and the goal with everything that we're doing here is how can we make it possible for the 23 million app developers that build for the Android store, that build for iOS, that build for Unity, how can we enable them to put money at the center of their applications? And so what we've done with the Xpring SDK is made it possible for folks, regardless of their language, to be able to program against this XRP and ILP system. And it's something we're very, very excited about, and it allows me to run all of this simply on my phone as well as on my watch. And that is the Xpring SDK. So one of the coolest things about this is just the XRP portion of it. So we just rolled this out. We literally 2 days ago pushed the last elements of code for this. What we're doing right now is we're in the process of adding the ILP element to this SDK. And what that's going to enable us to do is not only support XRP, but that's going to allow us to support all fiat currencies as well as all cryptocurrencies. And for us, we believe XRP is the most important, most effective means to bridge between these boundaries that we see geographically and we certainly see from a monetary perspective. And so we think XRP will play a very important role in a federated, heterogeneous world that we know we all live in, and we just think it is the most important, effective tool to bridge between those things. And if we can just give those kinds of tools to developers, we're pretty excited what they're going to be able to build. And so what I want to do is actually invite Warren up, and Warren's going to talk about our fun adventure last night, where we had on the order of about 150 folks that came to hack with us. We actually announced this code, and we spent a lot of time with them, and Warren can tell us a little bit about the results. So come on up, Warren. Thanks, folks.